Imagine the following scenario. You would have an AI coding assistant that generates efficient code, streamlines your engineering workflow, 10x's your code output, and generates optimized algorithms whenever you want. This is actually possible, and in today's video I'm going to show you exactly how you can combine MATLAB with ChatGPT and combine them with MatGPT and use your own AI assistant to generate these kind of efficient code outputs and 10x's your coding efficiency. So what is MatGPT in the first place? MatGPT is a MATLAB app powered by ChatGPT that allows you to easily access the ChatGPT API provided by OpenAI. With the app, you can load a list of predefined prompts or write your own prompts for specific use cases and engage in conversations with ease. If you're new to ChatGPT and prompt engineering, MatGPT is actually a great way to learn if you're a beginner or maybe an intermediate programmer who wants to tap into the possibilities of MATLAB and Simulink. So I think without further ado, I'm just going to show you how to actually get started and how to install MatGPT by using the online version of it. So there are actually two possibilities to actually get started. One possibility is to install it locally in your own MATLAB environment and then basically use MatGPT as your AI assistant there, locally on your machine. The second option is that you can use MatGPT in your browser. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to open MatGPT, install the repository in the folder structure of MATLAB Online, and then actually going to start using the prompts that I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds. But again, I'm going to show you right now, so let's delve straight into it without further ado. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open github.com/toshiakit/matgpt. If you can't see the internet link or whatever, I'm going to put every link that's relevant for this tutorial down in the description, along with a blog post that I've just written on the weekend, which basically dives into how you can add these kind of small buttons right here, how to get started maybe with open in MATLAB Online, this kind of button, how to actually put that in your own repository if you maybe distribute MATLAB code on GitHub. But anyway, let's move forward. You can either go to File Exchange, basically right here. You can download the repository and then install it locally on your machine. Or as I said, you're going to click this button here, Open MATLAB Online, and this is what we're going to do. So we click on it, and what you will see is that it opens matlab.mathworks.com, so an online version of MATLAB with almost the same functionalities as the local version that you might have. And we're going to say, yes, we want to install MatGPT in MATLAB, drive/repositories/matgpt, and understand the risks. You just tick the box and then save and open. Receiving the objects, installing it, and then what we're going to do is, you can see matgpt.mlab is right here. We're going to right click if you want, we're going to say run. This would run the application, and then it's going to take a bit to load. And then I'm going to maybe go over the graphical user interface for a couple of seconds. So this is where you can write the prompts. These tick boxes are going to be relevant if you want to suggest follow-up questions. So if you have no idea what prompts to write, MatGPT is really, really good in actually suggesting prompts that you could potentially ask after a code block has been generated, or you can even test generated MATLAB code. So once code has been generated, it detects, okay, I'm seeing MATLAB code. I'm going to just save it in the environment or in the kind of folder structure and also simultaneously execute that MATLAB code. So what we're going to do is go to settings. We see API key found. I just have to see then if it's really found. But what you can see is you would be able to paste your OpenAI API key right here. You save the key, and then you basically have a green light to get started to use this MatGPT assistant. You have different presets. You can use it as an AI assistant. You could use the English language and translate it into MATLAB code, to Simulink code. You could summarize code, explain code step by step, and a bunch of other things that you could do. For example, top 10 sci-fi movies if you're interested in sci-fi movies. Maybe load some data sets like Boston housing prices, and so on and so forth. Customized parameters, we always use GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is kind of the recommended stable build that we're going to use in this tutorial. Timeout stays standard at 10 seconds. We use a max token number of 1000, and the temperature for now at least stays at 0. You could always tweak it. Maybe if you want to have more elaborate outputs and more detailed outputs, you can tweak it up to like 2 if you want to. And 2 is actually the more creative output, quote unquote. But if we, let's say, go to English to MATLAB code, and then when we click a preset, it actually gives us a specific role. So English to MATLAB code, and then the role of that assistant is going to be, you are a helpful assistant that generates MATLAB code using the latest features from R 2021 or later. We're going to start a new chat, and it actually detected my API key because it saved it kind of in the back end, so I don't have to do that. But maybe small information, if the API key is not being detected, what you can do is go to platform.openai.com/account/API keys. You generate a new secret key right here, called it MatGPT-2, for example. You create a new secret key, and then you can just copy it, paste it into MatGPT, basically click Save, right here in the settings. You paste it right here, click Save key, and then you would have a green light and just get started using MatGPT. If you want to have an overview about your usage, you can see, for example, mine, how much money I spent on ChatGPT, 20th of August and 27th of August. It's really not that expensive. So if you put $2, $3, $5 on your account, you have enough to actually get started with MatGPT, play around with it, and even use it for your own project maybe. Going back to the assistant, we kind of our name. So we set the role of the bot is defined. It gives us a predefined prompt, define 2 random vectors x and y, fit a linear model to the data, and plot both the data and the fitted line. We're going to send that request, and as we can see, it showed me a green light, but it actually didn't detect my API key. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you in action how this is being done. API keys, create new key, MatGPT-2, create secret key. I'm going to copy it. At this point, I'm probably going to blur this so that you can't steal my API keys. I'm going to paste it, save the key, and then I'm going to say English to MATLAB code, start a new chat, and now please do the same thing over again, now that you know my API key. Waiting for API response, and then what you will see in a couple of seconds is really, really cool. You can see as we tick the box on test generated MATLAB code, once it detects that MATLAB code has been generated, it automatically executes the code. And as you can see on the right hand side, it opened the figure and it saved the MATLAB code under contents, generated code, test, and then the figure has been saved as well as the .m file. So you will always be able to go back in your folder structure. Maybe if you have closed maybe your code, or maybe the prompt hasn't been saved, or the output of the prompt hasn't been saved, then you can go back and always reopen that M file and re-execute the code. Really cool. So at this point, I think you kind of understood it. You got the hang of it. You know how it kind of works. The only thing we're going to do is we go back to settings, maybe just to show you one more thing, and maybe explain code step by step. So we'll give it another role just for the sake of like demonstrating it, and then we can basically wrap it up. So start a new chat, and then you are a friendly and helpful teaching assistant for MATLAB programmers. Analyze MATLAB code and explain the code step by step. So we'll give it a code and explain what the following code does. So we're going to send that request, waiting for the API response. And then what we're going to see in a couple of seconds is how MatGPT explains the code to us. I think, to be honest, while it's loading, I think this is such an incredible tool. I wish I would have that in university back when I was in uni to kind of maybe generate code for my own bachelor thesis, for example. Again, this is not here to substitute our thinking process. It's kind of more as an assistant, as I said in the very beginning of the video. So always remember the sentence that I always try to repeat on my social media accounts is not AI will substitute you, but an engineer using AI will. So kind of really use this as a productivity tool and maybe 10x your output. So you will always be faster maybe using a tool like MatGPT on your day-to-day work. So step 1, step 2, and basically you say until step 8 what the code actually does. And then, really, really nice from MatGPT, it suggests follow-up questions. What does the formula such and such represent in the context of the plot? How does changing the range and step size of M and T affect the appearance of the plot? So these are all follow-up questions. So if you have no idea what to ask MatGPT, it always comes up with a follow-up question, like assuming that you tick the box. I think you got the hang of it, ladies and gentlemen. So really make sure to maybe give it a spin. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. If you want to see another tutorial maybe on how to use ChatGPT or maybe some other AI tools inside of MATLAB, maybe you want your own AI series or machine learning series, maybe with reinforcement learning, machine learning, deep learning with MATLAB, with Simulink, let me know down in the comments. And I think with that, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, and keep coding, keep innovating, and as I always say, keep engineering your mind. Peace.